Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am your host with the most, Natan Verhovsky. I have with me the wonderful Dr. Peggy. Together, we're here for the Thriving Abundance Forum, strategies for cultivating an even more balanced and prosperous life. And it's really important that we put it that way because we're not here to how to get, we're not here to show and tell you how to get to the basics. We're knowing you're already there. We're already knowing you're good. Just wanted you to get a little more, get a little better, get a little extra. And that only comes because you're already so good and stuff. So happy and excited to have everybody here. If you don't know the wonderful Dr. Peggy, she has a background as a recovering dentist, and she's doing wonderful ever since then. Between physiology and psychology, she has an intricate connection and she empowers others to thrive and live compassionately. That's why we call her an abundance mentor. Her journey, fueled by deep curiosity, began way back in childhood, and now she's able to bring that energy and insight into her coaching, into her different works that she does. So, Dr. Christian's diverse careers going from dentistry, clinical research, integrative, genomic nutrition, wellness, transformational coaching. It's quite fun to have conversations with Dr. Peggy. And I'm sure you'll get to enjoy a little bit of her today. Now, I only put a little bit there, Dr. Peggy. Add some more meat to the bones. Introduce yourself a
Oh
bit
my
better.
gosh. Why I do this is really, I love being around people, right? And I learn so much from everybody else. And one of my hugest values is community.
Yeah.
And the reason is that when I'm in community, I am able to become a better person. And it's when I was in a dentist, that's what I love doing. All my other work in corporate, it's what I love doing because I think we become ourselves with other people. One of my mentors always said you can't become yourself without by yourself, and I really truly believe that. And one of the things that is important is, what I think that it's so easy for us to become complacent and just go through life without examining it. And one of the
Mm.
great things that I get to do is have the pleasure of working with people while they examine the things that they want to change and the things that they want to keep. So that's really, it's helping somebody have ahas and also pay attention to what they actually do and all the great things because we forget those great things when we only think about the future. So, one of
Mm.
the things about being an abundance mentor is we focus on a lot of times the present because there's a lot of gold in the present.
I like that.
And I that's kind of where I'm coming from. Well, it is where I'm coming from. Yeah.
I
So
like
I
that.
think that's a good introduction.
Yes. Amy, do you want to say hi? Tell us where you're calling in from. If you have any nuggets of wisdom you'd like to share, any questions probing you, talk to us.
Oh, well, I'm Amy Vale. I'm from Connecticut. It's kind of rainy and snowy over here, so it's a bit cold. We just tried to get our Christmas tree, but the place was closed because of the weather. And
Mm.
so, I'm happy to be here. I too, Peggy, and just I love community and I do it. People in, I don't know if dentistry is your thing, but I always say people in dentistry is my thing. So maybe it's just the people for you. I don't know because you're like a recovering I'm still very heavy clinical when I can.
I love
So,
it.
yeah. So, I guess one of my nuggets is, and we're all here and spending time together. We have an hour, and this is what we've decided that, we were going to do from 7 to 8 p.m. together. So, one of the things that we never know when we're going to run out of it is time. And so that is the only commodity we spend, never knowing how much we have left. So, I'm grateful that I have this time with both of you today because I don't know how much time I have left.
Amen. I don't have a note from the big guy
Wow.
upstairs either. So,
Yeah, I
yeah.
love that. What a
Hmm.
great perspective, especially now where I think that this season, this holiday season,
Mm.
for me, it really is about what's important and really a lot of gratitude and the magical part to me is the joy that the kids have, but also we make special intentions to be with others.
Mm.
And that's something that we don't necessarily do other times of the year. And then we say, oh, we should get together, and then we don't do it again until the next year.
Right? Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
But I think that is part of the magic of this time of year, is the intentionality. Yeah.
I agree. I agree. So let me ask you. I remember that today we wanted to talk. There was a couple things we'll be getting into in a couple minutes, but to start the party off, Dr. Peggy, if you wanted to set the stage, where would you want to start?
I want to start with thriving in abundance and gratitude and feeling joy
Mm.
is never about what's happening outside of you, at least in the long term. There could be momentary things that take you back, but it really is thriving in abundance and balance. They're all an inside job. But especially those of us that are in dentistry, which this forum is really geared towards, you know what? We're so used to following a book. We're so used to, okay, this is the way it's done, and really taking ourselves out of the equation and focusing outside of ourselves on the other people that we're serving, on our employees, on what we need to have in order to do our job, what we need to learn. And I think that sometimes that's part of where some of the stress comes in, because it's so outside focused. So that would be I don't, that's the thing that I think is so easily pushed to the side, is what is it that brings me the joy? What is it that fits my values? What is it that I'm happy to have around me?
I like that. I like that. Amy, your thoughts?
So I want to say more about the balance, talk about that, because my boyfriend and I were talking about balance yesterday, and basically, kind of what I said is your life, your health, your relationships, everything is a balance, and making sure that everything doesn't go out of balance, because it's very important to have that balance. So saying what you said, Dr. Peggy, about looking outside with people, but if you don't fill your own cup, like
Yeah.
Mary J. Blige says, you got to feed yourself before you feed somebody else. I truly believe that. And so again, it is about that balance. It's like, I have 3 children, I have many friendships, I have a relationship, family and all that stuff. But if I don't take care of me and keep that balance, then just like in your body, right? I don't know
Yeah.
if you're in healthcare, Nathan, but just like your body, if you're out of balance, something's going to grow or not grow, or it's going to be kind of wacky.
Yep.
If you don't take care of yourself, things are going to be out of balance for your relationships and all of that stuff. So trying to maintain that fine line it's hard, especially this time of year too, because you're pulled in so many directions, like a New Year's party that I have to throw, but
No, those are fun.
it is.
And I'll address your point because I didn't introduce myself. I'll take 30 seconds. I've been an elite energy coach for about 30 years. I started with Cirque du Soleil, Olympians, national sports
Ooh.
teams. I've had about 15,000 people come through my hands, wrote a couple best-selling books on energy management. And then COVID hit. And I figured, how hard can this online coaching be? I've been an offline coach for real for 30 years. This shouldn't be a thing. It was so horrible. I couldn't get the technology to work. MailChimp and Squarespace keep disconnecting randomly every 6 hours. I couldn't feel right with the marketing. I felt always too slow, like I'm doing last week's marketing. That's why it's not working. And it just really felt horrible. So I opened up Allura so that people like Dr. Peggy could blow a dog whistle to her target audience, could help, could heal, could serve, could give back, and really reach out and have unique events like this, have a private community, doing all the different things that you need to have that private ecosystem. So all roads will point back. I'll put our contact info in the chat. Would love to connect and say, all right, by all means. Dr. Peggy, I'll give it back to you.
Thank you. what's so interesting, I love the talking about the balance though too, because you know what? Sometimes we think balance is constant balance, but there's no such thing, because some things take more attention at a moment, and then later on, then you go back to the other thing. But I I think that sometimes we can get unbalanced trying to be balanced, if that makes sense.
Ooh,
Because
go deeper.
we think that there is a formula. And so kind of we've already talked about it once or twice. The whole thing about being present to what you're doing at the moment, and being
Mm,
present to what it is that brings you joy. So for me, like when I start thinking about if I'm out of balance, one of the questions that I want to ask myself is, um, when is it that I feel that most intensely? What is it that I'm doing? Because it could be something that, number one, I no longer want to do. Maybe it's something I never wanted to do. And then you have to ask yourself, is this something I can delete? Is this something I can delay? Or is this something that I can delegate? Because sometimes we do things out of habit, or out of somebody told us that we should have, or that's the way it was always done. And I think, especially when you're running a business, that can easily happen where, well, this is how we've always done it, but it doesn't mean that it's really the best way to do it anymore. Or
right.
maybe if it's something that you really dislike doing it, maybe you can have a team member, or you can hire somebody to do that for you, so that you can do the things that you like better.
That's
I
always
think
good.
sometimes we need permission to change things. And since
I
it's the Christmas holidays, I'm going to say, like in my family, we always did this one thing of exchanging gifts on Christmas Eve.
okay.
And then the way it was, the adults would get together and buy gifts for each other. And what happened is, when people started marrying into the family, right? They're like, I don't want to do this. This is stupid. I don't agree with it. But for the people that had been doing it our whole lives, it never occurred to
Mm,
us that we could do it
yeah.
differently, or that it needed to be done differently. And that's
Yeah.
just a simple example, kind of timely. And
No, that's
then
right.
everybody was happy, but the people coming into the family started getting really resentful, you know. So it's just it's just I think sometimes we're afraid to ask questions. We're afraid to rock the boat.
Mm,
And so, like, the people coming into the family, they had the responsibility to say, hey, you know, I don't, this doesn't feel good to me. And then start the conversation instead of just going along. And that's one of the things I think that as humans, sometimes we don't think that there are options, but there's always options
Always.
until
I
your
like
time
that.
is up, like you guys were talking about earlier.
Yep.
Then there's no more options.
No, no, no.
I'm sorry to bring it in that way,
Oh no,
but
but it's true. It's the truth. Why
bringing
don't we
it
talk
together.
about the truth? Yeah. It is the truth. I mean, and I ask myself, when I'm asked to do something, I try to now, because you can get into that, that cycle of just doing things. I'm like, am I interested? Am I capable? Am I aligned with this project now? So really asking those questions of yourself to see, if you even want to participate in there, because there was a lot of things in the beginning of my, I guess, this kind of career that, I'd just say yes. I remember doing a class on a Saturday. I was like, all right, no, I don't want to do that anymore.
Good for you.
Right.
Good for
So,
you.
mhm.
And the other word that you forgot, I'm not saying that you forgot it, but one of the things is capacity besides capability.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's
Yes,
something that we forget sometimes. We just pile it on. Oh,
exactly.
because I can do it. I know how, and somebody asked me to. But and we're givers.
We
And
are.
as we give, we're like, oh, it's okay. I can just do it. And, we have to learn that
It's because
no is
service is
okay.
your love language.
Yeah.
Acts of service. Yeah.
Yep.
I know it because I married one for 30 years and I didn't understand why I can be as romantic as I want and shower as much praise and affection. She's like, did you take out the effing garbage? No, no, you don't love me. Okay, just fold some clothes, do some dishes, make a dinner. I'm like, okay. And 30 years later, obviously, I'd been trained and, schooled and coached appropriately. So, yes, I learned. But
That's yeah.
all the training
Yeah.
finally paid off and she's got her happiness. So, life is good. Happy wife, happy
Oh.
life. We're good. We're good.
That's what they say. That's why I've been divorced twice, Nathan.
Oh man, no worries.
No, it's fine. They did not. I did not have the capacity to have them in my life anymore, and I knew that. It's okay.
Sometimes making other people feel okay is just exhausting, right?
We had to release them. It's fine. That's all. We released them.
Good for you. Good for you. I
Yes.
like that. I remember there was an exercise when through the decades of medical hypnotherapy where we'd go on like one of those Sherlock Holmes type in the moors in the dark and there's like the fog rolling on the water and it's pitch black and there's just one rowboat and you get in it and there's this burlap sack and a rock and a big
Mhm.
and inside that sack is every bad thing or horrible person, the things that you screwed up, the things that screwed up on you, the people you screwed over, the people who screwed you over, all of it in there and you just wrap it and you just say that prayer and you toss it and it's gone. And it's so
Is
powerful
it?
to do stuff. Well, if you can see that it hits your subconscious and then it's
Yeah.
gone, if you believe it, then it is.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think that a lot of healing in the subconscious, if you want to go there, you have to, I bring up a lot from my subconscious and you got to identify it and you got to heal it before you can move forward. And so I think I hear your point about throwing it away, but I also, think that, the learning, like when people say, I don't want you to fix my problems. And I would be like, why would I fix your problems? You're not going to learn anything if I do that. Right.
Sure.
And so all of those things in that big wrap burlap sack that you want to throw in the water, definitely don't forget those lessons. I know you're not saying that, but definitely those lessons in there, those
The things
hard
like you said that
lessons.
no longer serve you, right? Like you said, like those
Yes.
people, you can let them go. This is one of those let them go exercises for people who are like, I know I need to let this go. I just need a freaking mechanism. Is there a way to do so? I'm like, yeah, visualize this.
Mhm.
Done.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
Yes.
that's one of the things too that I believe, and it's a big part of my practice is there's many ways to health. There's not just one way. And like Natan, I learned hypnotism when I was doing dentistry to help my patients, like the dental phobics, because they would be so full of shame
Mm.
and in other aspects of their life, there they are. They're able to be an adult, and then they have that part where they come in and then they're in so much pain that there's very little that you can do that's going to be, well, you have to get them comfortable and that's going to take a long time. But I still have letters that I got from my patients that I use the hypnotism on to help them release that stuff, and
Mhm.
now it's
Dr.
you can
Peggy, hold on.
do.
Let me ask you, were you using it as like classical hypnodontics? Because I know that for me, I had about six cavities that I needed to get filled. And she's like, needles, no needles. And I'm like, well, I think I'm more nervous of the needles than I am of the pain. So how about I'll just do some breathing exercises and give it a try. And if it's too much and I can't deal with it, we can always go to the needle. She's like, yeah, we can always go to the needle.
Well,
And
I
we're
did that as well
okay. And
for
we're
the
like
patients who
halfway
didn't
through,
want
and
to
I'm
take
like, I'm
nothing.
good. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, because you can block pain. You can block pain with your
I was
mind.
able to do that. It was really cool. It was like the more intense, I was just able to deep breathe more. I was like, this equals more relaxation. I'm just like melting into the chair. It was amazing. So,
And some of my patients would, they do a huge endorphin work up, and then they would come
Are they
in.
lifting
because
weights or getting a tooth pulled? What the hell?
well, you know what? They just really wanted to be, they wanted to have control over that. And the
Wow.
endorphins will
Yeah.
block out too. Yeah. But
Wow.
really now it's easy. You can get in office sedation and stuff like that. But for the true dental phobic, so a dental phobic is somebody who won't come in until they can't stand it anymore. So they're
Yeah.
so afraid that they can't come in. And so what happens is when they do come in, there's so much infection that it's really difficult to do anything comfortably. And they usually have a ton of problems that could have been prevented. But
Yeah.
anyway, so those people, what you have to do is you have to get rid of that inner false belief that dentists mean pain that they got from they could have just heard somebody talking when they were young and they made it a rule, or something could have happened to them when they were young where it was a really scary thing that happened to them, and so they made a rule that dentists are create pain and I'm not going to put myself through pain. So with those people it was more getting to the root of their, as we were talking earlier, right? Where we're talking getting rid of those parts of ourselves where it no longer serves. It served for some reason at some point.
Yeah.
And so that's where the bulk of the empowerment work that within helping somebody to become abundant is we find those false beliefs that are holding you back. And I've said this before, but I believe that if you can name what's holding you back, it's not the deep thing that's holding you back. It's the things that are outside of your consciousness, the beliefs that you have, the rules that you make that are really what are holding you back from what it is you want.
I like
Can you-
that.
we need to repeat that. Wait, hold on. So you're saying that if you identify the thing that's holding you back, it's really not the thing that's holding you back?
It's a choice then, if you know what it is. It's a choice to continue having it hold you back. Because you can do some healing, like you were talking about. You can, whether it's talk therapy, whether it's doing any modality. There's so many modalities that a person
So
can
many.
use. So many, and they all work if that's what you choose.
Well, yeah, if you work the modality, then the modality works, right?
Yes, yes. And that's one of the things that also you guys, like I'm also, like Natan was saying, I have a degree in nutrition and wellness, and I've studied a lot of functional nutrition and things like that. And there are a lot of ways to get healthy. And so when somebody is marketing and says, this is, you have to do this, or what I like the best is the guy at the gym who tells you got to take a supplement. That's one of my favorite ones because we're so individual, right? And that's where being a mentor to other people is so helpful. And so I'm curious, I want to hear both of you, where are you the greatest mentor in your life?
Do you mean to other people, right?
Well, maybe to your dog, but yeah, to other people, I think.
Oh, okay. So I mean, starting with my children. I hope so. They don't really listen all the time, but I guess that. Today I had a really good, it was a coaching session with one of my sales reps. That's kind of where I thrive because I have I have a sales team. So she was just like, she popped on the phone. We were supposed to make calls to somewhere. And she was just like, Amy, I have no clue at what I'm doing. I'm lost. I don't understand why I don't have any orders for December. So I had to like completely pivot and start to mentor her and be like, this is what we need to do. We need to get into the goals and objectives. And, so that I think that's a lot where I thrive. People come to me for help. And then I'm like, okay, this is what we're going to do because I've been in sales for so long, so that's my role here. And then just being a really good friend too. I have a lot, Peggy, I have a lot of friends, a lot of the dues, right? And so they're good friends too. They're not just like, hey, I'll see you at a conference. But and so I do a lot of that. I show up for my friends and be a mentor as well for them. Yeah, a lot of giving.
Yeah, but so you know what? You're creating abundance for yourself and for them.
Oh
I
yeah.
think we all are able to do that. Okay, Natan, where's your hugest mentorship?
Amen. I literally have a group called the Frequency of Abundance. It's a free group on LinkedIn. You type the Frequency of Abundance, go to groups, come join us. It's a small paid community. It's tens of dollars a month, but we go deep dive. There's daily talks from motivational Mondays like today, winning Wednesdays, fearless Fridays, even on the weekends, soaring Saturdays, where every single day we'll have wonderful people. Dr. Peggy came. She was an awesome guest. We had the coolest conversations back and forth where we really go in deep dive into mindfulness, wellness, nutrition, mindset. And so many different ways to overlap and play. So I would
Yes.
say that in my world, because, well, as far as I know, we're the only not-for-profit event production and promotion house. So we
Ah.
handpick the people. We are invitation only by referral only. There's no transactional friends in my world. If I don't like you enough to bring you to my house for a beer and a barbecue, why would I spend more time with you? I So I'm very, very happy to pick the people I want to play with, to truly understand where they're coming from, blow a dog whistle to their target audience, and keep that conversation going for them to get a bigger spotlight. I think a lot of people deserve that and they're not getting it.
Hmm.
So in that context, it's lovely to play with Dr. Peggy and bring that spotlight out and such.
Hmm.
And so, I mean, I love what you said earlier, Amy, because you know what?
It's
Like my tagline is reveal, heal, and thrive. And that's kind of what you
Ooh.
said way back when, right? We're really aligned, apparently.
You really what?
We're really aligned,
Yes.
you and I.
Yes.
Yeah, you two need to talk after this one off with no guys in the room and stuff where you can do
Yeah.
the girl
Okay.
talk thing, do the thing with the girls
Oh
and
No,
no.
but the truth is that that's actually how that's how when we're in community, right? Which I said is
Mhm.
one of my highest values. And that's how I believe that it works. Like the formula is pretty set. There's no magic formula.
Mm-mm. No.
It really is being able to, you know, look at how you can help somebody see what they can't see. Like if you're in a mentorship or if you're in a guiding somebody, and and whether it's your family member, whether it's your friends, whether it's a colleague at work, whether it's a client,
Mm,
it's being the observer kind of first and seeing what they're not saying or what they're not seeing. And then it goes from there. That's what I think.
Mm-hmm. Active listening really will help you do that. That's
And
really important.
but what's underneath active listening is like getting out of your own head, right?
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Not
Mm-hmm.
thinking about
interesting.
what is it I want to say, is you're really listening to the other person.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out where, their problem lies. That's how I go into my mode, active listening mode. Okay, we're going into help mode. What do you need? Like you said, what don't you see that I can see and help you? That's what I'm doing. It's very powerful. It's
It is.
great. It is. It really is. It is. And it's
No,
good when they call you and they share that with you. I had another sales rep today. She was like, I did it. And we had been helping and she was just so excited and I was so excited for her, and that's the reward.
I was going to ask you because you're
Well,
more on the corporate side with that, so you must see a lot of that coming up.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yep. And then how do you get better? I just pushed out an 18 question survey to all of them to make sure that I'm doing good and how I can help them for 2025. So that was pretty vulnerable there. I haven't had any answers yet, but hopefully I've been doing my job for the year. And that's the other portion of it too. When you're mentoring somebody, is how do we get that feedback? Like I've had a mentor all year, I don't know. She didn't ask for any feedback. Is it that important? No, it's not. But I think it's important to, the feedback that you're delivering to that person is to, get that other, are you doing well? Some people aren't, if you're helping somebody, that other person may not ask the question or say, hey, can you do it differently? Or, hey, you're doing a great job. You usually hear that, but I really like the feedback to make sure that you're doing what you're mentoring and doing too.
Agreed.
I like that you brought up vulnerability, because that was the next thing that I was going to talk about,
Oh, good.
actually.
Yeah.
Because I think one of the things I know that I learned growing up is pull yourself up by your bootstraps. You're responsible. You do this. And maybe I learned it too well, to the point where the vulnerability of asking somebody else for their opinion or their help.
Yeah.
And when you go to school too, it's do your own work, right? And then we get into life, and we need to be collaborative, and we need to be able to get along with other people. And I think it's just so, that is part of, really, I think that is part of that balance equation too. When do we need to be vulnerable and ask for help, or ask for another person's opinion? Or sometimes, if we have a mentor, that's helpful, but it's also being vulnerable enough if somebody's below you, like you were saying, or somebody reports to you, or somebody is your employee, or somebody is, that they can feel comfortable enough.
Yes.
And that you've shown your vulnerability enough that they can tell you if there's something that is not jiving with them, or there's something that's bothering them. If you don't show any vulnerability yourself, then I think people are going to be less likely to approach you.
Oh,
What do you
yeah.
guys think?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, well, absolutely, because you're showing that you're human. And so I think, yeah, like you said, makes people more comfortable. I remember, so I mean, like, just going back to this kind of survey, I made it anonymous. So getting really vulnerable, they can really get vulnerable with themselves too. One of the questions is I feel comfortable asking my manager questions, right? So hopefully I get, those comfort, the higher scores on there. But yeah, it's
You'd think it'd be a given, but it's so crazy that some people don't,
yeah.
Yeah.
But then I know, but that's the feedback, and why you push out, think questions like this is so you can, I say, continuous improvement all the time. And so then, pushing that anonymous survey out is letting them get vulnerable too, even though it is anonymous. But then there might be showing some real problems going on in the department. So, and then you got to fix it, and then, you got to be vulnerable and fix it, and then they got to, so it is, it's hard to get vulnerable. I'm getting used to it though.
Yeah.
Well, in the long run, that little bit of discomfort really brings a lot of mileage, doesn't it?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Getting
like,
comfortable being uncomfortable is a big one.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's one of my messages to the sales reps too. That was today. I said, it's time to get out of your comfort zone. I'll say that it's time. Got to get out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, and then what does that, I mean, in the long run, what does that allow them to do if they get out of their comfort zone? To become more thriving, more abundant, more successful, or whatever.
Right. Because, well, it depends on the context, Peggy. Like, I think, I talk about it in more of a sales role, but even my son, I was having this, tonight too. I was like, you know what, it's going to get uncomfortable. This, whatever he was dealing with, but in this context, and what does that mean when you get uncomfortable? That means you're going to do something that you might learn from. You might learn a new skill. You might learn something. I'm hoping. I'm all about learning, if you can't tell. So, like, so, you might learn that, but it's doing something that, you can actually identify the feeling. Ooh, that's uncomfortable. I need to pick up the phone and I need to call somebody I've never talked to before. Ooh, I'm going to get out of my comfort zone. I might make a sale, right?
Yeah.
That's it. I was telling my son tonight, I know you're bent, but get out of your comfort zone instead of just, because he was like, oh, I'm just going to fall asleep on the bed. And I said, no, you're not. Get out of your comfort zone. Go tell your teammates they're doing good. You're on the bench. Do it. Like, you need to participate. Get out of your comfort zone, Keith. So
Good for
that's
you.
how I approach it. Yeah, me too. Like, I do it. I'm like, what are we doing? What's the new opportunity? I'm always out of my comfort zone. I take on way too much because I love to be out of it. So I follow my own advice,
But
guys.
then are
Don't
you out
worry.
of balance or are you just growing?
Oh, I'm growing. Oh, growing. Oh gosh, growing. It is. Because again, remember, I don't take on. I'm trying not to take on those things, that won't allow capacity for other things to get me out of my comfort zone. So I think I'm about at capacity though. I just took on a new consulting job last week, so I'm like, so
Look at
yeah.
you.
Yeah. Well, these interest rates are crazy. 3 jobs. So yeah. Mhm.
That's awesome.
And yeah, I'm curious too. What is the definition of abundance for you? What is it? What does it mean?
I don't know if I've quite thought about that. What does it mean? See, I have to tell you, when I think about abundance, I think of something very different. So I'm hoping you guys can help me understand where you're coming from because, abundance mindset, you're growing. I kind of think that. Is that how we're, defining it?
Oh,
What do
I
we?
think everyone has the right to define it in their own
Yeah.
way.
So I'm trying to, so the way I look at an abundant mindset is almost how I think of things. And I have too much of them. So my abundance mindset, I think, needs some more shift where I don't know, I just don't define it as kind of that. I maybe I need help understanding more of that because when I think of abundance mindset, I'm like, oh my God, do you have way too many purses, way too many hats, way too many things? Like, you have too much of the abundance. That's how I think of it. So I'm interested to hear you. Obviously, I know that's not the only way to define abundance. An abundance mindset is, continuously growing and improving and on that way, but I haven't shifted my mindset almost to that way.
I think a lot of people, the word abundance is almost synonymous with wealth,
Yeah,
right?
so yeah.
And actually, for me, abundance is, if I used one word, it would be safety.
Well, okay.
So when I'm feeling abundant, safety means that my needs are met. I'm I have what I need plus I have the people in my life that I want to have in my life. Those are all things that are safety. Because if I have, the whole thing with community being one of my greatest values is if I have that community, that means that I have people who can keep me safe if something bad happens, or if I need help, or if there's things outside of my control. So yeah, for me, it really is. If I boil it down to the smallest denomination, it really is that I feel that I have safety, and so when I'm safe, then I can exude love and confidence and um and calmness.
Yeah.
I like that. That's very cool. I had a client, for them, young guy, good looking, wealthy, great shape, living the dream, millionaire, got the the materialistic toys and such, couple kids that adore him, six-pack abs, climbed Mount Everest, 24-year-old lingerie model wife. So he's happy as punch, except he's not. And he comes and he goes, Natan, I don't understand, man. It's like I literally, have a checklist of accomplishments and accolades and things that I should be really, really happy about. And yet I'm not. I'm like, when you say this checklist, do you physically have a checklist? He's like, yeah, I do. I'm like, you just wake up in the morning and read that out loud. He goes, I do. I'm like, how's that working out for you? He goes, it's awful. It's really, I feel horrible. I feel worse afterwards. I said, okay. I said, progress equals happiness. When's the last time you challenged yourself? Bit off more than you could chew and then figured out a way to chew it. Overcame an obstacle that you didn't think you could. That was the last time you were happy. So he says, okay, so if progress equals happiness, then how come I'm sitting around with all my other friends and we're all millionaires and we're all rich and we all came to the damn party with a Ferrari or a Lamborghini, but I don't feel abundant? How do I feel more abundant? They look, I look at their faces, they genuinely look like they feel abundant. I believe them. I don't feel like I'm standing in my frequency of abundance. So I said, all right, abundance equals gratitude. When you wake up in the morning, you literally go, whoa, there's some, I don't know, a couple million people who didn't. And check mark number one, I'm on this side. So the flowers smell much, much prettier than the roots. And we're on the right side because of that. So the gratitude, the literally counting your blessings, every single one, until you, oh my God, brim over the top, feeling this ridiculous abundance. That's what I'd speak to on that.
You know what I like about that? For me, I just discovered recently that I was like, my abundance was just a checklist. I mean, not my abundance, my gratitude.
Mm,
And it's easy to be to have a gratitude that doesn't have any depth. But
Fair.
so I'm not saying anything bad about myself, but that is, that is like it had become similar to what you're talking about, Natan, with the millionaire and having that everything that they want, anything that they need, but they don't have what you're saying, like the gratitude, because, well, I don't know why they didn't have the gratitude, but it wasn't deep enough. It
yeah.
wasn't. It
They didn't
wasn't
challenge
true.
themselves.
Yeah, it wasn't true for me. Like sometimes when I feel the true gratitude, like my whole body, I can feel it. My whole body feels it.
Joy.
Yeah.
Do you ever feel it? Yeah, sometimes I'll lay there and I'll feel pure joy.
And that's when you have that stupid smile on your face you can't take off. I love that. Yeah. Yeah.
And
And you're like, why am I smiling? You're like, smiling is the best.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's easy to just like, if you're going through a gratitude list, to just do it very without thinking. And then that doesn't, for me, that doesn't get me over the hump.
Mm.
But I like your idea about progress, something that is meaningful, like doing something that is meaningful and not just already accomplished. Yeah.
Mm.
I like that. Wonderful. 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 Now, for today, because we have a smaller audience and we have the holidays and all the wonderful things, we can end a little bit early, give people back their time. But let me ask you, if you wanted to have a closing point, Dr. Peggy, what would you like to take us out on?
Let's see. You know what? It'd be good if we each reflected on what our takeaways are from this today. And maybe, because this is a thriving abundance forum, maybe from that, make one small actionable thing that you can do for yourself, like starting either tonight or tomorrow, right? Because we covered a lot of, I think this was nice and deep. We covered a lot of nice, deep concepts, I believe. And, like I said, because of the way I look at my purpose and of what I do with my clients, my friends, my family, myself is,
Mm.
how can you continue to reveal what it is that you want? Am I in alignment with my values? Am I living a life that I want? Or do I wake up every day and say, same thing you said yesterday, I need to, or I want to, or I've got to. And so, when you're doing that, you're kind of just putting up with things. You're tolerating things. And that to me is not being in abundance, when you're tolerating things. And maybe that's one of the things that you want to say, what can I take one small action to? You know how it feels so good when you had that thing that was hanging over your head? And then you do it and you're like, ah. So that's kind of reveal
I like
it.
that.
Yeah. And
That's
and
very
the other thing that I want to wrap up, because it is the holidays, and just take a few moments to be present and really enjoy all the abundance that you have with the people, places, the things that you're going to do, the presents you get, whatever. Yeah.
Mhm.
And the presents you give, right? Because
Mm.
that's a cool thing.
I like
Mhm.
that. Yeah, I like that. That's very cool.
Okay.
Thank you, Mrs. Deep and Insightful, Dr. Peggy. Having a wonderful
Very
evening
welcome.
now.
And Amy Brain came through.
Amen.
Natan, who
Yes, I
has
enjoyed it.
30 years of really being in tune with everything. It was small and impactful today, you guys.
It was. I enjoyed tonight.
I was going to ask you, Amy, if you don't mind, take 30 seconds, take a minute. You're an extremely busy, powerful executive yourself. You took some time to come here. Was it
Mhm.
worth your time? Was it something that would be making sense? Next month, the topics change, the people change. I'm sure we'll have more people coming out of the holidays. Would you like to come back? Bring a friend. Would it make sense? Let us know.
Yeah. Yeah, I would do this again.
Awesome sauce.
Bring a friend.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, of course.
We're glad it was a worthwhile use of your time.
It
Thank
was. I
you.
really enjoyed the deep conversation. I really did. It was
Cool.
great. And enjoyed seeing you too again, Dr. Peggy. Thank you for the invite.
It was
Nathan,
great
it
to
was
see you.
great. Yes. So it's
Thank you.
good.
Thank you. Yep. If I can do
Happy
anything on my
holidays.
side, by all means, reach out, say hi.
Okay. Yeah. Send me the link to the oh,
Take
wait,
a look
what
in the chat. We've got everybody's
oh, you
contact.
got it. You got it in the chat. That's right. You did. Let me put that in there. Yes, you did. Thank you for that
No
reminder.
worries. Take a
Okay,
minute, grab that for sure.
let me do that. Okay. Copy. Put it in my notes that I did this. Paste.
Put it in your brain.
Put it in my brain. Okay. I love it. All right. Good.
Yeah, if you book an appointment, you have to literally register yourself as Amy's brain. Period.
You got
That's the
it.
only way we'll ever know.
I love that. Where'd you guys go? There it is.
Yeah, we're gonna keep that
Oh,
going
you guys are
forever.
so funny.
Yeah,
I'm thinking
that
we're
is
gonna play with that,
amazing.
Dr. Peggy. We're gonna have like Dr. Peggy's brain.
Yes.
We're gonna play with this. Yeah, I'm gonna have fun.
I love it.
It
It's
is
good.
it's very it's one of those things that you won't forget. So
Yes, that's so smart.
thanks for that.
That is a secret little marketing tidbit right there. Well done.
That's it.
Yeah,
That's it.
well
Awesome.
done.
Okay.
So thank you for
Both of
joining
you
us for
guys.
this Thriving Abundance Forum. I appreciate the deep dive. I appreciate the vulnerability. I appreciate us going in, talking about things, and really not keeping it 60,000 foot overview and topical, but doing a deep dive, getting
like
into the weeds, getting comfortable being uncomfortable. This was
vulnerable.
awesome, ladies. Thank you
I
so
like
much.
it.
All right.
Thank you. All right. Take
night.
care. Good night.
Bye.
Bye.
Night.
Okay. Are we ending, Natan?
Yep, and you can stop recording and you're golden.